Las autoridades de Minnesota confirmaron la detención del sospechoso de matar a una legisladora estatal y a su esposo y de herir a otro legislador y a su cónyuge. Vance Boelter está acusado de 2 cargos de homicidio intencional sin premeditación y de 2 cargos de intento de homicidio intencional también sin premeditación. Veamos el informe de Iván Rodríguez desde Blaine.
Las autoridades de Minnesota confirmaron la detención de Vance Boelter, hombre de 57 años y también sospechoso de matar a una legisladora estatal y su esposo y también herir a otro legislador y su esposa. Antes de que lo detuvieran, la policía estableció un perímetro a gran escala y también desplegó equipos de SWAT después de que encontraran un vehículo que ellos pensaban en ese momento que era uno que fue abandonado por Boelter en el condado rural de Sibley, un condado lleno de diferentes granjas, muy rural. Los agentes utilizaron tecnología, sabemos, infrarroja, también drones y helicópteros para tratar de encontrarlo desde el aire. Tras localizar y rodearlo al sospechoso en el bosque, Boelter arrastró hasta los equipos policiales y también después fue arrestado en ese instante. El superintendente del Departamento de Seguridad Pública de Minnesota también ha dicho que él cree que los ataques del sábado por la mañana a los legisladores habrían continuado durante todo el día si no hubiera sido por la policía siendo proactiva y en ir a la casa de la representante estatal Melissa Hortman después de que seguían su investigación en la casa del senador estatal John Hoffman y su esposa que fueron baleados. Esta tarde sabemos que tiene 2 comparencias judiciales separadas programadas, Boelter, una por cargos estatales y otra por cargos federales. Desde Minneapolis, Iván Rodríguez.
The suspected Minnesota shooter has been captured. Vance Boelter's arrest brings an end to a nearly 2-day manhunt that involved hundreds of law enforcement officers.
There's no question that this is the largest manhunt in the state's history.
He is accused of carrying out the targeted shootings that killed Democratic lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband, and wounding Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman and his wife over the weekend. Police say Boelter wore a mask and posed as a police officer to carry out the crime. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says appears to be politically motivated. Federal authorities identified what they believed was his car early Sunday. Inside, they uncovered a list of about 70 names, largely Democrats, including local, state, and federal lawmakers, along with abortion rights advocates and healthcare facility information.
The question was, is the manifesto and the information that we have received as their motivations. We are working diligently on that. There's certainly some indications within that, but there's not specifics enough.
The community has since reeled over the attacks on their elected leaders, leaving behind flowers, flags, and notes to the Hortmans. One read, "You were our leader through the hardest of times. Rest in power."
A manhunt is ongoing to catch Vance Boelter, the man who police say is a suspect in the shooting of 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota on Saturday. Governor Tim Walz called it a politically motivated assassination. Here's what we know.
It was not a real police officer. This is somebody that clearly had been impersonating a police officer, again, using the trust of this badge and this uniform to manipulate their way into the home.
Authorities say the 57-year-old suspect impersonated a police officer when he killed Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband and wounded Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman and his wife.
When our officers confronted him, the individual immediately fired upon the officers, who exchanged gunfire, and the suspect retreated back into the home.
After the suspect fled, police say they found what appears to be a hit list with dozens of names in his car. Officials say the list included prominent lawmakers like Representative Ilhan Omar, Senator Tina Smith, and pro-abortion rights advocates. Flyers for anti-Trump protests were also said to be found. Boelter has worked as a director for a private armed security service, according to the company's webpage. The firm was registered to Boelter's home address and listed a woman who appears to be his wife as president and CEO. She did not respond to messages from CNN. Elsewhere, records show that Boelter served on a state board with Senator Hoffman, one of the victims who survived. In 2019, Governor Tim Walz put Boelter on the Governor's Workforce Development Board, a group of business owners who recommend policies to the state government.
I feel the presence of the Lord in this place.
Je sens la présence de Dieu en ces lieux.
Could you pray with me, please?
According to video and social media posts reviewed by CNN, Boelter is an outspoken evangelical Christian who traveled to Africa and was critical of LGBTQ rights. Police say they are still investigating a motive for the attacks.